Today's February 15th. We're on a Pennsylvania scouting trip on public land, and I wanted to go over 3 tips for scouting public land that will allow you to have success in the fall. And we're out here in the middle of February. It's pretty cold this morning. It was in the single digits, but that doesn't matter. That's actually a good thing because no one else is going to be out here. And we got in here. It's a nice sunny day, about 9 o'clock. And three important factors that we were looking at this year at this spot. 1, hard access. 2, mixed habitat. And 3, bedding browse. And actually, my brother was in here, I think the first Saturday of archery season, or no, it was rifle season, and he ended up tagging out a nice buck, really nice heavy antler buck. It probably was a 5-year-old buck, and it was probably 300, 400 yards north of here. And we scouted it later, a few weeks ago. I think it was the end of December, early January, and we looked at a couple other spots, and this is a spot right here that I'm going to attempt to harvest a buck in an archery season. Hard access is number one of the most important factors. Hard access. To my east, which is this direction, we have swamp. We have a creek flowing through there. It floods a lot of thick, heavy vegetation. Chances are there's never going to be a hunter that crosses that, but the deer do. So we have hard access to the east, or very little or limited or zero access to the east. To the south, the swamp extends to the next road, and we're talking over a mile away. To the west, we have private land. That's another big factor of hard access. Okay, swamp to the east, private land to the west, and it's nearly a mile in from the north from the road, and it's a very sparsely populated region. So we have hard access. It takes about 40-45 minutes to this spot. There's actually a couple spots further on to the south that are actually further in, and it'll probably take over an hour to get to. That would be 2 miles from where we parked today, but we can walk in a mile from the south. There's a place we can access, and that would be probably 45 minutes to an hour in between some point. So hard access. So check that box off for hard access. Number 2, mixed habitat. Where I'm standing right now is sort of a hub. I like to call it the hub because, as I said, to the east is swamp. If you go to the west, you have pines. You go to the north, you have pines. In between the 2 sets of pines, you have hardwoods. You can't see it real well because of the pine tree blocking here, but if you go straight that way, you can see some of the bigger trees, deciduous trees, and there's a pinch point right here where the hardwoods are intersecting the pines. And then beyond to the west, all hardwoods, oaks, sugar maples, poplar, all sorts of hardwood trees. Go way out to the east, about 3/4 mile to a mile, we have ag fields. All right, so we're tucked back in here. This is, I know is a big buck haven. We've already harvested one, and we harvested that buck. My brother harvested that buck by just looking at a map. He was really never in here, and he calls me up. He says, where do you think I should hunt on this spot? He says, pick a spot. So I'm looking at the vegetation from the aerial photo, and I see pines, I see swamp, I see hardwoods. I said, right here. He goes there in that general area, and he harvests a nice buck. So mixed habitat. When you have mixed habitat, we talk about edge. That's edge. When you have habitat features that are changing, pines, hardwood, swamp. We have in here grasses, we have briars, we have multiflora rose, there's red brush in here, all sorts of things. So tons of browse. Now, bedding. Number one thing to having good bedding is having the ability to get up, browse around throughout the day, and then later on, once the dark starts to fall or evening comes, they'll be moving out towards the hardwoods. Between here and the fields, we've got oaks, so they'll be browsing on the acorns, and eventually by dark the big bucks will make their way up, and it'll be totally dark by then, And we could be in here hunting these bedding areas in between the swamp and following the travel corridors to the fields. So top 3 things that you need when you're scouting public land: hard access, 40-45 minutes, an hour walk. Number 2, mixed habitat, conversion of different edge types. We've got conifers, we've got swamp, we've got hardwoods. And then last but not least, good bedding cover with the browse available within that bedding cover. We've got red brush in here, we've got briars, we've got grasses, we've got weeds, we've got shrubs, all sorts of things. So next time you take a scouting trip, make sure you keep those 3 things in mind, and you'll benefit it tremendously from it. And always keep it in mind, we'll be out here probably a couple more times before hunting season, and next fall we'll be looking forward to a great opportunities at nice bucks.